I still remember the exact words my wife said before leaving that night. "Don't wait up for me." She stood in front of the hallway mirror wearing a black dress I had never seen before. She looked excited. Nervous too, but not the kind of nervous a wife feels before a normal office party. It was different. She checked her phone every few seconds, smiled at messages she wouldn't let me see, then grabbed her purse and headed for the door. "It's just my boss's company celebration," she said casually. "Everyone's going." I nodded, but deep inside something felt wrong. The truth is, our marriage had been changing for months, slowly, quietly. She stopped talking to me the way she used to. Conversations became short, cold, distant. She guarded her phone like it contained secrets she'd die protecting. Every time I asked a simple question, somehow I became the problem. "You're overthinking. You're insecure. You're acting paranoid." And maybe part of me wanted to believe her because the alternative was terrifying. That night, she left around 7. I stayed home pretending to watch television, but honestly, I spent most of the night staring at my phone, waiting for her to text me. 10 o'clock passed, then midnight, then 1 in the morning. Nothing. I finally sent her a message. "Everything okay?" No reply. I called once. Straight to voicemail. At 2:30 in the morning, headlights flashed through the living room window. My heart jumped, but the car kept driving. That was the moment I realized something inside me was breaking. She finally came home just after 6 in the morning. I was already awake, sitting at the dining table with a cup of cold coffee in front of me. She walked in quietly holding her heels in one hand and her phone in the other. The second she saw me awake, her expression changed. "You're awake?" she asked. I looked at the clock. "You were early." Immediately, she got defensive. "Don't start." I hadn't even said anything yet. Then I noticed the jacket hanging over her arm. A man's suit jacket. My chest tightened. "What's that?" I asked quietly. She barely looked at it before tossing it onto the chair. "My boss's wife gave it to me because I was cold." The answer came too fast, too prepared. Then she walked toward the bedroom before stopping in the hallway. "And stop acting like my father," she snapped. It was a work event. The bedroom door slammed shut. I sat there in silence, staring at that jacket. And for the first time in our marriage, I stopped believing her. You know what happens when trust dies? Your brain suddenly starts connecting every little thing you ignored before, the late-night meetings. The secret smiles at her phone, the sudden overtime, the emotional distance. Everything started making sense in the worst possible way. Later that morning, after she fell asleep, I picked up the jacket from the chair. It smelled like expensive cologne and hotel perfume. My hands shook while checking the pockets. Then I found it, a hotel room key card, no hotel name. Just a gold symbol and a room number, written in black ink. I stared at that card for almost a full minute. Part of me wanted to throw it away and pretend none of this was real. But another part of me, the exhausted part, needed the truth, no matter how painful it was. Around 9 in the morning, Emily woke up acting completely normal. "I need coffee before work," she said while stretching. Work, that word almost made me laugh. While she showered, I noticed her laptop sitting open on the kitchen counter. She normally kept it locked, but this time she forgot. An email notification popped onto the screen. From her boss, the subject line said, "Last night was amazing." My stomach dropped instantly. I opened it. There was only one sentence inside. "Hope your husband believed the party story." That was it. No confusion, no misunderstanding, no room for excuses. In that moment, something inside me became completely calm. Not because I felt okay, but because the truth was finally clear. I closed the laptop just before she walked out of the bathroom. "You okay?" she asked while pouring coffee. "Yeah," I replied calmly, too calmly. Because the version of me sitting there wasn't the same man from the night before. That man still hoped his wife was honest. This version of me understood that I had been lied to for months. Before leaving, she kissed the air near my cheek and grabbed her purse. "I'll be working late again." she said casually. Of course she would, the second she walked out the door. I got to work. You see, her boss wasn't just some random manager. He was a married executive at the company, a man obsessed with reputation and image, the kind of person who fears scandals more than guilt. By noon, I had everything saved. The email, their messages synced to her laptop, pictures from the rooftop party, the hotel information, enough proof to destroy every lie they told. But the strange thing was, I didn't want revenge anymore. I wanted consequences. Because betrayal becomes dangerous when people think they can get away with it forever. That evening, she texted me again. Working late. Don't wait up. I looked at the message and smiled for the first time in weeks because my decision had already been made. The next morning, Emily walked into the kitchen, acting cheerful like nothing had happened. She hummed softly while making coffee, completely unaware that our marriage was already over. I slid a small envelope across the table. "What's this?" she asked. "A morning gift," I said calmly. She smirked while opening it. Then her face lost all color. Inside were printed screenshots, the hotel key card, the email from her boss, their messages. And underneath everything, a formal complaint addressed to her company's HR department. Her hands started shaking immediately. "You went through my things?" she whispered. I leaned back slowly. "No, Emily." I finally stopped ignoring reality. She looked terrified now. "This isn't what you think." I laughed quietly. That sentence should honestly be printed on wedding rings at this point. Tears filled her eyes instantly. It was a mistake. "A mistake happens once," I replied. "This became a lifestyle." Then she saw the full page in the envelope, the copy addressed to her boss's wife. That was the moment panic truly hit her. "You sent this?" she asked weakly. "Not yet," I answered, "but I will." Suddenly, the woman who ignored me for months cared about our marriage again. Suddenly, honesty mattered. Suddenly, loyalty mattered. Funny how consequences can wake people up faster than guilt ever does. "Please don't ruin my career," she whispered. I looked directly into her eyes. "You should thought about that before ruining your marriage." Silence filled the kitchen. Heavy silence, the kind that appears when excuses finally die. Then I walked to the hallway closet and placed a suitcase beside the front door. "I already talked to a lawyer," I said calmly. "And yes, your boss's wife knows everything too." Emily looked completely shattered. "You ruined everything." I stopped and looked back at her one final time. "No," I said quietly. "Your choices did." Then I grabbed my keys and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" she asked through tears. I paused for a second before answering. "To start over." And as I stepped outside into the morning sunlight, I realized something important. Sometimes the strongest revenge isn't screaming. It isn't violence. It isn't destroying someone. Sometimes the strongest thing a person can do is finally walk away from the people who treated their loyalty like weakness.